Hello friends, this is Odds, according to a recently declassified government document, and today we're going to talk about the Knight, which came out about 1 year ago. You might remember that on release this killer was a complete mess. His power was very clunky and inconsistent. It worked really awful. It had the dubious trait of being unfun to play as and unfun to play against. But after a few patches, some of the more glaring issues got corrected, the power got some buffs, and now we're at a point where the Knight is not the strongest, he's not the weakest, he's somewhere in the average, and I guess he's somewhat playable. But there are still many issues, some of which we found back on the release, and some of which we've learned more recently, that make the gameplay of the Knight extremely rough and sometimes just downright infuriating. It's one of the reasons why I haven't really enjoyed playing him too much in the last few months. I'm going to share with you a few tricks and little things about this killer that can help you as a Knight, especially if you play around them, and that will help you a lot as a survivor. And I hope they get corrected. The first one is the most recent one that I've learned, and it's a sort of AI manipulation that you can do to slow down guards even more. So, as I'm sure you know, when you vault a window, a guard that's chasing you is coded to follow you through the window. This is similar to pallets as well. They are slowed down a little bit, but they still follow you through it. However, something really funny happens if you run at the window, touch it, and then just go a different direction. You'll notice that the guard doesn't actually chase you in a straight line. They actually go and touch the window too, and then come at you, which means they waste a lot of distance. If you have a little bit of distance between you and the guard, or a bit of speed, this becomes super obvious and makes any guard lose so much distance that it's almost guaranteed that they'll never catch you. Another way that you can avoid being caught by guards pretty much any time is by running the new perk Made for This, which came out after the Knight was released. With Made for This on and nothing else, you're faster than 2 of the 3 guards. Other than the Assassin, which is a little bit faster than the others, both the Carnifex and the Jailer move at 102.5. Meanwhile, you are 103. So yeah, this perk alone makes you essentially immune from ever being caught up, unless you are a bit clumsy and run into a wall or something like that. But you know what? You're never going to be caught in the first place, or hit in the first place, if the guard doesn't detect you. One of the issues that I brought up in the past about the Knight is that he is horribly dependent on one brown add-on called the Map of the Realm. With Map of the Realm, the guards have a larger detection radius that makes it actually possible to find survivors when you send them out. Without this brown add-on, it's actually very difficult to catch a survivor in the first place. There's actually a Knight player that did some math and a really nice video that I'm going to link up. But the gist of this video, and I'm going to try to show you in the footage now, is that if a guard is summoned right on top of you as a survivor and you're running away, you will never be detected. The detection of the guard is actually slower than your own running speed, which means that if you hold forward, it's impossible for a guard to ever catch you unless the Knight plants the guard in front of you. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess. With Map of the Realm, this becomes a little bit nicer and you can actually somewhat reliably catch people. If I compare them both side to side, you'll see that with one, a survivor barely gets out, not even close actually, and with the other, they barely get caught. So yeah, the fact that this killer depends so much on this add-on is really crazy. They should really consider making it base kit, at least in some capacity. Another thing that has been around since the Knight came out and it got patched, but then it came back and now it's still in the game, is being stunned during power. So the way the Knight is coded is a little bit strange. When you send out a little orb to spawn a guard in the distance, the game actually moves you as a character with this spirit orb. You're actually there. That's why when you summon a guard, you can sometimes see like a little glimpse of the actual Knight being there. It's a really ugly, part of the game, but whatever. But here's the thing, during this few frames where the Knight actually appears next to the survivor, for example, you're actually completely vulnerable to being hit by a stun pallet. And it can look like this, and it's very annoying. Let me show you an example of when it happened to me recently. Bunch of games and stuff. Another thing that drives me up a wall that I cannot stand is the extremely flimsy summoning distance requirement. For you to summon a guard in front of you, you need to have a minimum of space, and this space isn't really well explained. You'll notice here that if I move my camera slowly around me in a somewhat tight area, sometimes the prompt comes up, sometimes the prompt goes away, and it's not super obvious when it's going to happen. This, I think, is very unique to this killer. When you play Demogorgon and you try to place a portal, you might have a similar issue, but it's nowhere near as bad. It actually can really piss you off when you're trying to use your guard and you don't understand why you don't have enough space to plant it. Let me show you again another example of this happening to me and driving me up a wall. I can't, dude, I can't use my power. Oh, all right. Look, I can't summon a guard! I can't summon a guard! Now I can. I'm too close to something. I need a f***ing government permission to summon a f***ing guard. Yeah, as I mentioned, playing the Knight can be really, really infuriating sometimes. And I wish these issues weren't there so I could play more. But I also learned, thanks to a really helpful Knight main, one trick that I can show you that you might find useful in your games. So you might have realized that as a Knight, you cannot send your power across different elevations. In fact, if you're on a hill and you try to use your power and there's like a big drop, you will hear a really loud thump, like a really loud thud noise, and it doesn't let you. However, you can actually bypass this a little bit without having to necessarily drop by getting really close to the edge of this hill and then looking down a little bit and using your power. You can use this on very small elevation gaps without necessarily dropping, or even pretty big ones as well. So this might be something that you find helpful. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there are other quality of life or issues that I haven't even found yet. So if you know of anything that might help to play as or against, or something that needs to be brought to the attention of the developers, please let me know. Because after reading your feedback, I'm going to take all of this and send it to the developers and see if they can give this killer a little bit of grease on his very rusty joints. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Also, if you are a fan of long format content, you'll be happy to know that over the next few days, we're going to be uploading several pretty long videos on this channel, including a full playthrough of Lies of P and some other game that I played just now that was really cool. You'll be able to see these on my uploads. I will make it so that it doesn't show up on your subscriber feed, so it doesn't spam anyone's feeds, but you can always click the bell on the subscriber thing if you want to make sure you see absolutely everything and you don't miss uploads like this. Thanks so much. And now for real, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.